Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today's video is dedicated to all international students who are coming into Canada in the fall term. A very big congratulations to all of you who have gained admission and then on a step further to get visas to come into Canada to study. I want all of you to have it in mind that the visa you have now takes you from your home country and brings you to Canada, the port of entry, which is the airport, the Canada airport. Actual entrance into Canada is determined by the officer at the airport. The visa you have now doesn't bring you into Canada. It brings you to the airport. Now, whether or not you'll be allowed into Canada is determined by the Canada Border Service agents in the airport. Okay, so when you get to the airport, you are going to interact with these agents, and then how the interaction goes is what will determine whether or not you will be allowed entry into Canada. And yes, there are students who do not get to enter Canada because they are not able to convince the officer that they are here for the purpose that they stated in their visa application process. So I have put all this together to help you to prepare for the process that lies ahead of you at the airport, to make sure that you are well informed and then you are able to make a confident entry into Canada. To begin with, I have listed these documents that you have to have handy on you. So these documents should not be in your luggage. They should be with you. The best is to get a file and put all these documents in them, okay? And put that file in your backpack so that it is very close to you and you can have easy access to the documents. So the documents include your passport. Definitely, you cannot travel without your passport. You also need your study permit approval letter. That's your study permit approval letter. Your letter of acceptance or acceptance letter is also very important. You will need your proof of funds. And also, if you are on scholarship, you will need your scholarship letter and your funding package if you are on scholarship. You would also need a proof of tuition deposit. A proof of tuition deposit or a receipt that of payment of school fees or tuition. Okay, and last but not least, you need your statement of purpose or the SOP as we normally call it. Now, these are the documents I will call the primary documents. So you put all these documents together and put in an envelope and put in the file. Okay, you would also want to put all the documents you use for your visa application together in one envelope and also put it in the file. So separate the documents. All the documents you use for your visa application, put them together in one envelope. And these primary documents I mentioned, put them together in another envelope and put these two envelopes in the file. And let this file be in your backpack, okay, so that it comes easily accessible by you. Now, after having all these documents, one part of the work is done. The next is how you approach the officers and how you answer the questions. Let me give you some pointers. The first is to stay calm and respectful throughout your interaction with the officer. Be polite yet confident. Okay? Be very polite, yet be confident. And then try to keep an eye contact with the officer. Don't be looking on the floor. Don't be fidgeting. It will only let them probe further to see if you are hiding any information. Okay? Be confident. Keep an eye contact. Be respectful. Be polite. Speak truthfully and provide direct answers. So answer questions briefly. If it's yes, say yes. If it's no, say no. If you need to mention something, just mention it. Don't go talking about things you've not been asked. Okay? Don't go giving details that has not been requested. That may only lead to another thing, which may lead to some other thing. You may want to be as direct and as straightforward as possible. The last and also the most important is to ensure that all your responses confirm the information you have already provided in your visa application process. Because at this point, the officer already has access to all this information. So you would want to make sure that anything you say to the officer confirms or reiterates the information you have already provided in your visa application process. At this point, I would like to add that if an agent did your application on your behalf, make sure the agent gives you all the documents he or she used in the application process to help you. And you have to go through the documents before you get to the port of entry so that you'll be familiar with the information on the documents. Now to the expected questions. Have it in mind that it is not automatic that you are going to be asked all of these questions. You may be asked some and not some. Now, if you are asked some, just answer that. The ones you are not asked, don't bring them up. And before I go to the questions, let me actually say this. It is normal to have some level of nervousness. It is normal to have some level of nervousness at this point in time, especially as you are in the queue and you can see ahead of you and you see how it's going. Probably you have cited a very strict officer and you are hoping that you don't even go to that officer because of the interactions, how his interactions with the people ahead of you are going. Okay, that can make you a bit nervous. And also, if you are a first-time traveler, you are likely to have some level of nervousness, but try to keep that as minimal as possible. When you still sense that you are so nervous, when you get to the officer, I will advise that you be the first to speak by saying hello. Be the first to speak by saying hello to the officer. You can say, hello, how are you? That is enough. Okay, and trust me, that will make you more calm and be more at ease. So you just get to the officer and be the first to say, hello, how are you? The officer is likely to respond, and then that eases you and then keeps you calm. Okay, so now to the questions. Also keep in mind that how you answer one question will determine whether they would ask you further questions based on how you answered. That is why you are advised to answer directly. Keep your answers short and precise. Don't go talking about things you have not been asked. So the first question is likely to be, what brings you into Canada? What brings you into Canada? And you are an international student, so you say, I am coming to study in Canada. Okay. Question number 2. What is the name of your school? What is the name of your school? You are just supposed to mention the name of your school. So if you are coming to University of Toronto, you just say University of Toronto. If it is Humber College, you just say Humber College. If it is Northeastern University, you just say Northeastern University. Seneca College. Whatever school or college you are coming to, just mention the name of the school. It will surprise you to know that as simple as this answer, as this question is, people have gotten into trouble with this question. There was an instance of a young man who was asked the name of his school, and instead of opening his mouth to talk, he, for whatever reason, decided to show his phone to the officer with the name of the school on the phone. And this is not somebody who cannot talk. This is not a dumb person that you would say he cannot talk. This is someone who can talk. So what kind of student cannot mention the name of her school? So if you know you have difficulty with the pronunciation of the name of your school, kindly do yourself a favor by trying to check the correct pronunciation in Google and familiarize yourself to it. Because you do not need to bring a document with the name of your school to answer this question. You need to mention the name. You need to mention the name of your school. You don't need to pull out a document to answer this question. A student who is coming to a school should be able to know the name of their school and mention it. Okay, so know the name of your school. Another thing is, if your school is not in that province and there is an airport in the province where you are attending school, the officer would want to find out what you are coming to do here and why you didn't go to the province you are attending school. For example, if you are attending school in Montreal and you come to Toronto whilst your school is in Montreal, the officer would want to know why you are landing in Toronto and not in Montreal. So keep that in mind. Perhaps you have family in Toronto that you want to spend some time with them before you continue to school. Feel free to give that information to the officer when asked. Only when asked. Okay? Only when asked. Now, the third question is, when does school resume or when does school start? Mind you, this information is on your letter of acceptance, but you should know. You don't need to refer to your letter of acceptance to answer this question. You should know when your school starts. Also, after you answer this question, if you are coming in too early to the start date of your school, you would be asked why you are coming in so early. If you are coming after school has already resumed, you will also be asked why you are coming in late. Okay, so if you are coming in early, probably because you have family that you want to spend some time with before school starts and all that, but the best time to come is around anything between 2 weeks to the reopening of school is good. Okay, anything between 2 weeks to reopening of school is good. Now, if you are coming in late, you don't want to say that you are coming in late because of a financial problem. That will only put you in a very difficult situation, because in your visa application process, you had provided proof of funds, and that is why your visa was granted. So at this point, you don't want to say that you had a financial challenge and that is why you are coming in late. So please keep that in mind. Question number 4. What program are you enrolled in? What program are you enrolled in? So this is another question that any student should be able to answer without referring to any document. You should know the program you are enrolled in. Question number 5. What is the duration of your program? This you should also know. It is on your letter of acceptance. However, you do not need to refer. You should know the duration of your program. So if it's a 1-year program, you say it's a 1-year program. If it's an 18-month program, you say it's an 18-month program. If it's a 4 years program, you say it is a 4 years program. Have these information at your fingertips. You do not need to refer. Trying to refer to get all these basic things will just leave room for further questioning, and you do not want to. You do not want to do that. You do not want to get there. You do not want to get there so that one thing will lead to another thing. You do not want to. Okay? So have these things at your fingertips. The 6th question is, have you paid your tuition? Have you paid your tuition? If you have paid your tuition, yes. If you have made part payment, yes. At this point, you would want to show a tuition deposit form or a receipt that shows that you have made this payment. Okay, at this point, it is important to show a document that confirms that indeed you have made this payment. Now, if the payment you made is not the full payment, if it's a part payment, you should be expected to be asked how you are going to finance the balance. If the payment you've made is a part payment, you should be expected to be asked how you are going to finance the balance. It's either you have the money on you, or you have the money in your account, or your family is going to send you the money. You should be able to answer. Okay, what you should never think of saying is that you are going to find work in Canada and work to pay. Never. I repeat, never think of saying that you are going to find work to help you pay for your tuition. Never. Because in your visa application process, you should prove that you can finance your studies, and that is why you were given the visa in the first place. So stick to the information you gave there. Now, even if you have made a full payment of your school fees for the first year and your program is more than a year's program, they are also going to want to find out how you are going to pay your tuition for the subsequent years. So also still stick to the information you provided, whether you have a sponsor or your family, your parents are the one taking care. If you have their bank statement or your bank statement with these monies inside, you would want to show, because at this point they really want to know. Okay, and again, don't talk of working in Canada to do this. Don't. Not at all. Don't. Okay, don't talk of working in Canada to finance your school. No. If you are on scholarship, you would want to show your scholarship letter and your funding package at this point in time. Okay, you would want to show your scholarship letter and your funding package at this point in time. Question number 8. What are you going to do when you are done with school? What are you going to do when you are done with school? This is one question that, if you are not careful, can take you back home. If you are not careful, this question can take you back home. Now, in your statement of purpose, don't forget about your statement of purpose. The statement of purpose you used in applying for the visa. You wrote something there, right? You wrote how what you are going to study is for the benefit of your home country. You remember? Yeah. You wrote how your employer is even giving you leave to come and study, so that after the study you advance in your work back home. So this is the point you want to reiterate what you stated in your statement of purpose. Don't talk about getting postgraduate work permit and permanent residency and all that. Should not come in at all. Should not come in at all. Stick to the information on your statement of purpose. Whatever you wrote that made you get the visa, stick to it at this point in time. Okay? And then, why did you choose to study in Canada? Why did you choose to study in Canada? Question number 9. Why did you choose to study in Canada? Is it because you have family here? Is it because you know someone who went to the school and referred you to the school? Is it because that school does so well in that particular program? So why did you choose to study in Canada? You have to give your reasons why you chose to study in Canada or why you chose to study in that school. So it can either be why you chose to study in Canada or why you chose to study in that particular school. Okay, and then my last but not the least is where you will be staying in Canada. Where will you be staying in Canada? At this point in time, you should have made arrangement for a place you are going to stay already. So if you have booked a hotel or an Airbnb that you are going to live in for a while till you get your own place, you would want to show the officer documents of those bookings. Okay, if you are fortunate enough to have family and friends here who are willing to host you, you'd have to know their address so that you give this address to the officer. Okay, and for the address, it's okay if you don't have it in mind. You can have it on paper and read it out to the officer, but you should know it and you should have it. You should have some form of accommodation, as in if you leave the airport, you should know where you are going to. The officer wants to know that you have made this arrangement, that when you leave the airport, you are going to this place or that place. So keep that in mind. Now, these questions are not difficult questions, but you need to be conscious of the answers you give. Okay, so as we have said already, stick to your visa application or the information you provided in your visa application, because at this point that the officer is asking you these questions, he already has the information with him, so you do not want to be given conflicted information. Also, keep it in mind that the officer might ask you some more personal questions. The officer can ask you some questions that you deem unnecessary, but please keep your calm through it all. Be polite and answer as much as you can. There was an instance of a lady who was even asked to spell her name. She was asked to actually spell her name after the officer had taken her passport. The officer asked her to spell her name, and this should not be a problem to you at all. Okay, you should be able to spell your name and then keep a smile on your face, respect the officer, be confident, keep an eye contact, don't talk too much. I mean, I have given these 10 questions, but who knows? They may just ask you one or two. Okay, so after answering the two, don't ask about the others. Okay, after answering your 2 questions they asked you, just say thank you, and then you are here. Okay, we are looking forward to seeing you all in Canada soon, and we wish you all a very safe flight. We pray that you pass through immigration smoothly and make a confident entry into Canada. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.